Every case has a beginning. Not every case has an ending. This is a channel about the ones that were never closed. On a rainy November night in 1971, a man in a business suit walked to the back of a jet and stepped into the dark. He left behind no name, no body, and no trace. Only a black clip-on tie and the greatest unsolved mystery in aviation history. Who was he? How did he vanish? And is it possible that, somehow, he survived? Tonight, we follow the case of D.B. Cooper. It began at Portland International Airport, where a quiet man paid cash for a one-way ticket to Seattle. $18.52. He gave his name as Dan Cooper. Mid-30s, dark suit, white shirt, black tie. Calm, polite, forgettable. The kind of man nobody remembers. He took seat 18E, near the back of the Boeing 727. He ordered a bourbon and soda and lit a cigarette. Flight 305 carried 36 passengers and 6 crew. A short evening hop, Portland to Seattle. Nothing about it seemed unusual. Not yet. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to flight attendant Florence Schaffner. She assumed it was a lonely businessman's number and slipped it into her purse. As aller amteneers and a lately in Blasp, he leaned toward her and spoke quietly. "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." She opened it. Neat capital letters. He wanted her to sit beside him. Then he opened his briefcase. Just a few inches. Inside, she saw a row of red cylinders, wires, and a large battery. It looked exactly like dynamite. She believed him completely. His demands were precise. $200,000 in $20 bills, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting when they landed in Seattle. The message reached the cockpit, then air traffic control, then the FBI. As the plane circled Seattle, a nation's attention turned to Flight 305. A young flight attendant named Tina Mucklow stayed at his side. For hours, she was the only link between the calm hijacker and the terrified crew. She lit his cigarettes and relayed his words. When she asked him why, he said only, "I don't have a grudge against your airline. I just have a grudge." He was strangely courteous. He paid his drink tab. He offered the crew meals. Witnesses agreed. This was no wild-eyed madman. He was in control. For 2 hours, the jet circled in the dark, while, on the ground, agents raced to gather the ransom and the parachutes he had demanded. He collected 10,000 $20 bills, most from the same Seattle bank. Every serial number was quietly photographed. That decision would matter years later. At last, the plane landed at SeaTac. A fuel truck rolled out. The money in a knapsack, and the parachutes were carried aboard. Cooper kept his word. All 36 passengers walked free, along with 2 of the flight attendants. They never knew how close they had come, but 4 people remained: the captain, the first officer, the flight engineer, and Tina Mucklow. Cooper had one more instruction: fly me to Mexico. His orders were exact. Stay below 10,000 feet. Flaps at 15 degrees. Landing gear down. Cabin unpressurized. And leave the rear stairway open. These were not random demands. Whoever this man was, he understood this aircraft. He knew exactly how to jump from it and live. The crew was ordered to stay in the cockpit. The door closed. Cooper would be alone in the cabin, with the money and the night. At 7:40 in the evening, Flight 305 lifted off again, turning south toward Reno and then Mexico. 2 fighter jets followed, unseen. In the cockpit, a warning light glowed. The rear air stair was being lowered in flight. Over the intercom, they asked if he needed help. "No," he said. No. Those were the last words anyone would ever hear from the man called D.B. Cooper. Outside, the conditions were brutal. Freezing rain. Winds near 200 miles an hour. Darkness so complete he could not have seen the ground. The plane poisons was the most graceful number. He wore a thin business suit and slip-on loafers. He strapped 21 pounds of cash to his body, and he walked down the moving stairs. At around 8:13, The crew felt it. A sudden bump, a shift in pressure, as though a great weight had left the aircraft. Somewhere over the black forests of southwest Washington, in wind and freezing rain, D.B. Cooper stepped off the stairs and fell into the sky. The jet flew on to Reno, with the stairway scraping the runway on landing. When agents boarded, the cabin was empty. He was gone. Left behind on the seat were 2 parachutes, 8 cigarette butts, and a black clip-on tie with a mother-of-pearl pin. The FBI launched the largest manhunt in its history. They called it NORJAK, Northwest Hijacking. They were certain they would find him within days. They searched a wilderness of rivers, ravines, and endless pine. Soldiers, helicopters, and submarines combed the terrain. They found nothing at all. Many agents believed no one could survive such a jump. No jumpsuit, no light, freezing air, and unknown ground rushing up in the dark. And yet, no body was ever found. No parachute. No cash. It was as if the man had simply dissolved into the storm. For 9 years, the case went cold. Then, in 1980, a boy on a family picnic changed everything. 8-year-old Brian Ingram was digging in the sand along the Columbia River when his fingers struck a bundle of rotting $20 bills. The serial numbers matched. It was Cooper's ransom. $5,800, buried on a beach called Tina Bar. But how did it get there? It was the only money ever found. The other $194,000 has never surfaced. Not one bill in over 50 years. Suspects came and went. A copycat hijacker named Richard McCoy. A dying man's confession. A veteran pilot. Each theory rose, and each one fell apart. Decades later, scientists studied the tie he left behind. On it, they found rare particles of titanium, the mark of someone from the aerospace world. Was he an engineer? A paratrooper? A man who built the very planes he had learned to escape from? The evidence only deepened the mystery. Every promising lead dissolved the same way the man had, into rumor, into legend, into the cold silence of an unmarked forest. In 2016, after 45 years, the FBI finally closed the case. Officially, it remains the only unsolved skyjacking in American history. So what happened that night? Did he die alone in the wilderness? Or did he land, bury the truth, and quietly walk into a new life? We may never know. D.B. Cooper became a ghost, a folk hero, and a question mark stamped forever across the night sky of 1971. Some cases close. Others just fall silent. If this one stayed with you, subscribe and stay with us. Next time, another name the world could not explain.